Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry and Mowers and Blowers. Welcome to another snowmobile episode. As you saw from the last episode, we figured out the priming system need to be at least affixed and running, and that made it to be a very easy to start situation. So I was very surprised that the primer system made such a big deal made a big deal in starting, and once I did connect it, it worked like a charm. Really worked well. I needed a few new wires, not wires, but fuel lines, because these were all like super old, and while they are pliable and not hardened or anything, I figured I'd change it anyway because it was really inexpensive. So I got a new primer plunger with a whole kit with a whole bunch of T-lines and fittings so that they would fit on what I plan to use as a gas tank, right? And I would just take a regular lawnmower type hose fuel line and connect it here, then connect the T-line where it has a small nozzle that sticks out, right? And that connects directly to the primer plunger. And then that way I would be able to prime the system using the gas that's in this tank. Then that T-line would also go down, and I needed to buy a splitter, a 3-way fuel line splitter of that diameter, so that it goes from one gas tank, one hose, to the primer nozzle, past that, and then it splits into two, where one would go into the fuel input, into the right carburetor, one would go into the left carburetor, and I'd be done. However, I didn't have a fuel filter system for that, and I wanted to add a shutoff, right? A fuel shutoff. So if I mounted the gas tank here, which it would fit, right? And I could close the hood and everything, and it would just sit right there. The distance between this and the carburetors itself is like that much. So how am I going to fit a primer T-line to a 3-way fuel line splitter to a fuel filter to a fuel shutoff? I mean, it would have this clump of crap right in this area, which would be right on top of the carburetors. So I thought that that was kind of dangerous, because if you had a leak, right, gas would pour right over the engine block and stuff, right, which is not good. And then also you may not get the good draw of fuel from the gravity, because this is a fuel pump type setup for the delivery system, right? I bypassed it, and I wanted to go for gravity fed. It's more reliable that way, right? And easier to start too, because you wouldn't have to worry about the engine being on for it to pulse to get the fuel to pump into the lines. So I finally pulled out this. This is the original gas tank to the snowmobile. As you can see, the reason why I think that they decided not to start up this snowmobile again is because they were trying to add something, maybe lights or some kind of handle or something, and they didn't realize that what they were drilling was the gas tank. So they drilled 2 holes here, and as you can see, there was duct tape here covering it to try to prevent fuel from coming out. Everybody knows that if you have fuel, putting duct tape over a leak is not going to work, So this gas tank is Dunsky, because you're never going to get a great seal in this, and I don't want to use a fuel pump anyway. So this is designed to go, you take this cap off, and this reservoir goes inside here and pops out that hole over there, right? And that's how it mounts. So what I'm thinking is, because I don't have much fuel, the distance between the fuel tank and the carburetors is very short, and I have so much stuff that I want to add to it. I want to kind of put the gas tank like around here, you know what I mean? Maybe over here, so that I have access to the cap right there. So if I could just have it there, it is still higher. The gas tank is higher than the carburetors, therefore gravity will pull the fuel right in there, and I have a lot of fuel line to go from here to there, so I have plenty of room to put the T-nozzle for the primer, the 3-way splitter to split the fuel to the 2 carburetors, to add a fuel filter and a fuel shutoff to that line. But how am I going to have it mounted sitting up like that when this thing is supposed to be in there? Well, I thought maybe I would cut this part out. Like get like a grinder and just cut this part here all the way through here. Well, maybe I'll just cut there and see if the fuel tank slides inside here. I'll put a big hole right there to allow for the gas cap to be right there. That's what I'm thinking. And then build some kind of a thing. Well, this thing may be able to hold it up, right? This part right here, so I'll keep this for now, but if it doesn't work, I'll cut this whole thing out and find some kind of a bracket where it would hold the fuel tank up, you know, high instead of it sitting down. Because as you can see, the nozzle sticks down here, so you can't sit on the ground because it'd be lower than the carburetors. I'd have to have it higher than that. So I don't know if this layer here is solid or not. I won't find out until I drill through it. But I think that's what I want to do to get it to work. The hole on top has to be much bigger than the cap because I want to be able to stick my fingers in there and turn the cap, you know? So that's my plan. That's what I'm doing. Then it'll start to look like a snowmobile again without this whole stuff, all this stuff removed. Then I'll be able to prime it perfectly. I could start it easily and just go. You know what I mean? Yes, this gas tank is not very big and won't hold that much fuel, but enough for me. I mean, I'm not going snowmobiling in the mountains. As a matter of fact, the question is whether or not I'll be able to run this thing at all this winter, because we don't get snow here in Long Island anymore. And if we do get, you know, a significant amount of snow that covers the roads, then I'll be able to go around the block a few times with this thing and just, you know, play with it. And then I really don't know what I'm going to do with it, to be honest with you. Hey, if you guys interested, you let me know. I'll make you a good mowers and blowers price. So, in anticipation of waiting for those things that I ordered, fuel line, T-nozzles, T-splitters, all that stuff, I'll prepare it for when it does come, right? And this kit came with a lot of fuel line too, so I'll be able to replace these old things here with new fuel lines, which is, you know, great. But I do want, I mean, I wasn't even going to use this at all, so I'm going to, there's no loss on me. I'm just going to cut in there and see what happens. I'll put you on time lapse. All right, see what I did there? Cut a big hole there. I had a smaller hole, as you saw. Cut this whole thing out. This thing contours like that. That goes down, so it matches with this going down. So I would mount it this way, right? The reason why I made this hole bigger was because if it was like the small hole, like it just went like that, and I put the cap on, this thing would be tilted, curved like that, because this is angled down, so it wouldn't be level. So I would have most fuel on the back of it. If I was low on fuel, it would never reach the hole for this. See, the fuel would be sitting sagging like that, you know. So I had to make it straight. So if it was straight, I would need room to turn the cap. Question whether or not I could do it anyway. Yeah, I could do it. So it would sit like that. Obviously, if I left the thing outside, rain would get in there, you know, inside here. Not that it really mattered, but I'd rather not have it, you know, like that. But I don't know. I'd have to probably cover this or something with something, like a lid or something. But I don't think it would be outside anyway, so I would always cover it with something. Now, how am I going to keep the gas tank high like that? Like I thought about just putting like a paper box under here, silicone the bottom, and just have it sit in place. but then with moisture and a cardboard box, it would just get soft and it would sag down like that, you know. So I went to the backyard and I found this. I have no idea what this is. I got it years ago. I don't know what it is. Look at this. What the hell is this? No idea what this is. I don't even know why I have it. So I figured I'd cut here, take this thing off, and I'd have like a side bracket so that I could adhere it somehow onto there like that. So it would be like a kind of like a fuel tank stand that would fit right in there. Do some self-tappers right in there because it's plastic. So I was thinking about doing that. I don't even know what this is, so I was just going to use it. I think I'm going to try it. Bros, check that out. Both sides of that contraption that I had, the L bracket, drilled holes here, screws to adhere that L bracket to each side, like that, which allowed me to have a lip for the LT1000 gas tank. You know how it has a lip that you put two screws in onto the dash tower of the lawn tractor? That's what it's sitting on, that L bracket that I made. That's solid onto the sides here of the inner gas tank. And then it just laid right on top of it, right? And then I took this, you know, this insulation that comes with the stuff that I review, and I just stuffed it in there so that it wouldn't move. Man, this thing is solid, bro. It's solid. And as you can see, I have room to turn the cap to take it off and fill it, right? And it's on there, tight, really tight. So this is, you know, well insulated, and it's stuffed in there. It won't move. So now I have room to simply put on the fuel line, and then attach that to a the plunger primer nozzle splitter on there, and then attach the primer hose to the primer plunger so I can prime it for easy starting. Then it comes out into a three-way splitter where gas goes to the left carburetor and the right carburetor respectively. Oh, wait a minute, not yet. I have to put a fuel filter on it. Then it comes out to the fuel shutoff. Then you put the Y splitter on that goes to both carburetors. So that way I can shut off the fuel when it's not in use, and I don't think it's going to be used that much. And the fuel will be filtered by the filter, so you won't clog up your carburetors with crap in the gas tank. But there's nothing in the gas tank, so it ought to be okay. But you want to put a fuel filter on there anyway. So this would just fit right back into, you know what, let's test fit it to make sure that it's higher than the carburetors, otherwise you're not going to get any fuel. Had a bunch of these. I don't know what these are. Could this be to plug holes? This might be for plugging holes. That's interesting. Whatever. Well, there it is. So it's close. It's not exact. I mean, it looks like it's about the same level as the carburetors. Fortunately, the carburetors do go down a little bit, and it would plug into this hose right here. And it would go like that. Yeah, it's definitely lower, much lower. So that'll be good. These fuel lines here are very stiff and rigid, so it's not bendable, but the new fuel lines are going to be great. And yes, it does seem like it's higher than, and with fuel pressure in there, as long as you fill up the tank pretty well, it'll push the fuel straight into there. With the pliable new fuel lines, it'll be great. I think this will work, fellas. Finally can hopefully put this one to bed, you know? Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait for those accessories that I got for the fuel delivery system and the primer plunger, and this one should be ready to go. All we need now is snow. What else do we got over here? That's another product from my friends and sponsor, VEVOR. How many things have I done from VEVOR, fellas? Ton of stuff from VEVOR. Oh, they got a ton of stuff. And I want them all. Well, there are some things that I don't want, but this one I figure I could use if I ever decide to do my own oil changes. That's right. It is a oil capture reservoir tool part. You know, it has wheels on it, and you put it under your car when you're getting ready to do an oil change or transmission flush or radiator flush, anything with fluids of your engine that you want to drain and replace. This is the capture on wheels with an electric pump, 12 volt, that pumps all the old fluids into a bucket or barrel or whatever to be disposed of or recycled. Here you go. This is the VEVOR oil capture reservoir on wheels. It's an entire apparatus where you slide underneath your truck or your car when you're doing an oil change and or flushing your radiator or your transmission. All that fluid goes everywhere, right? So this is a nice big trolley, if you will, tray that captures all the fluids right through here. So it has a sump pump here where you would connect this to 12 volt DC, you know, your car battery or something, and then you turn it on, the switch, right? I don't want to turn it on because if you run it without any fluid through it, it's no good for the motor. But just imagine that I just did my oil change, right? Or there's antifreeze in here, whatever, right? All this is filled with fluids. You have a hose here that's filtered with a mesh thing. It sucks up here into here and through this long hose where you can take the dirty oil or fluid or transmission fluid and put it into a drum or a you know, 5-gallon buckets or something like that, so that you could take it to, you know, Home Depot or your gas station or whatever, your recycling service center, so you can dispose of those fluids environmentally correct. So really cool, huh? So there you go. Rubber coated wheels. I don't usually do my own oil changes, but maybe now I will. There's the pump. There's the fittings. There's the on and off switch on these swivel caster wheels in the front. Nice roller blade type wheels for the rears. And like I said, you can lift this up, the mesh thing. And that goes just like that. And in the handle, you can coil your wires there and your hose there with a foam handle. So another great product from VEVOR. I don't know when I would ever use that, but if I decided to do my own oil changes, I guess I could do that. Or flush my radiator, right? Or drain my transmission fluid. That's all very messy jobs. And with this thing, it makes it less messy and easily to dispose of for recycling the fluids. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want one. Like I said, guys, lots of VEVOR products on their website. Go check it out. You're definitely going to buy something because there's something that you need. Tens and thousands of commercial, residential, and consumer products. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.